tuning in.
Well, thank you so much again. Like, I've been hearing so much about you, definitely been reading about you over the years and what you've been doing with Orange Blossom Classic. So I'm really, really excited to speak with you and get to learn more about this amazing event that you've put together. So I'll jump right in with my questions.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, you're welcome. So let's start here. What can people expect from this year's Orange Blossom Classic?
Oh, wow. So definitely, I would have to say a great time this year. So, of course, this is the third installment with FAMU and Jackson State. So definitely expect a wonderful matchup. These two teams are the number one and the number two team right now in the conference. And when we started this, we didn't know that it was going to shape up to be such a huge rivalry as it has become. Wow. So I would say definitely expect a great game. This game, the last 3 years, last 2 years has actually determined which team will go on to represent the SWAC in the SWAC championship and then move on to the Celebration Bowl. So a lot is at stake for both of these teams. That's the one thing. The other thing, of course, is that anytime you have a classic, you can't just have a football game. So we are doing a call out for all HBCUs, not just FAMU and Jackson State alum, but everyone who loves HBCUs, who love the HBCU culture. Labor Day weekend, Miami Gardens is the place to be. So they can expect a lot of events around the game. Nightlife, of course, is huge, but we have our parade, we have our scholarship luncheon, we have our golf tournament. So there's something for everybody. So this is the place to be to have a good time Labor Day weekend.
Love it. And is it about 3 days worth of events? Am I correct?
Yes. So we actually start on Tuesday because one of the main things around the Orange Blossom Classic is community. Our tagline is one big community. So we do a lot of events, community-related events, one of which on Tuesday, we will be on the campus of Florida Memorial University hosting our career fair in partnership with Career Source of South Florida. So that is on Tuesday. Wednesday, we take a little break. Thursday morning is our golf tournament that will take place at Miami Shores Country Club. Thursday night, we have a VIP mixer. Friday morning, again, is our scholarship luncheon. Friday night, we have our opening night party, our denim themed party. Saturday morning, we have our parade, and then the parade takes place in the area around the stadium, but the parade route actually ends at Betty T. Ferguson Community Center. So then we have what we're calling our HBCU reunion on the yard. So that's an opportunity to come out and bring your chairs, your tents. We'll have food trucks. We'll have entertainment. We'll, of course, have our mascots present. We have people that'll be, we're activating the stage. So we have, in addition to our DJs, we'll have different community groups performing. And of course, we'll have as many of our Divine Nine groups there as possible that'll be strolling, and it'll just be like a homecoming, so to speak. So that's Saturday. Sunday, we have the big game, of course, but just before the game, starting at 11 a.m. is our Fan Fest. The Fan Fest is really big. Pepsi, who is our official soft drink, they will activate the Pepsi soundstage. So they'll have some talent on the stage. We're going to unveil who that talent is in a week or so. So that's a surprise, but that'll be the Fan Fest just before the game. And then at 3:00, we kick off.
Love it. Love it. This sounds like an amazing week worth of events. Because of COVID, I wasn't able to attend previous events, but this year I'm definitely planning to come, and it seems like it's the talk of the town, and it just speaks to what you've built and the significance of it. And, I want to tap into that and learn more about, like, why did you think it was important to bring back the Orange Blossom Classic after almost a 40-year hiatus? I've been hearing that you're the brainchild, you're the person who like, this needs to happen. So can you take me back to like what that was like and why you were like, this classic needs to come back, and I'm going to be the person that makes it happen?
The history, so number one, if you really remember, if you know the history of the original Orange Blossom Classic, it started in 1933 and it ran until 1978. It ended in 1978 because at that time, we started integrating schools, and a lot of our talent that wasn't able to go to predominantly white institutions previously were, of course, able to do that. So a lot of the talent kind of left the HBCUs, but nevertheless, the Orange Blossom Classic, the original game, was there as an opportunity for our HBCUs to showcase their talent. So I really, really got excited about the history of the game, understanding why it was so important, why it was so significant. And when I started this process, at the time, Florida Memorial did not have football. And so, just coming from, I'm originally from North Carolina, and everyone in my family went to an HBCU. So, my mom graduated from Shaw University. My sister graduated from North Carolina Central. So that's what I grew up with. And the only thing that I really, when you talked about PWIs, it was UNC or Duke or something like that, but it was all around basketball. And so when I got to Florida, when I got to South Florida, and we were missing that, with Florida Memorial not having football. And I'm like, wait, homecoming in February? Like, who does that, right? And so that, just kind of began researching again the history, and thought that it would be something really good for this current generation to be able to experience that HBCU culture in their backyard. Of course, we have the Florida Classic in Orlando, but for a lot of our students, unfortunately, going to Orlando, is not an option. We jump in the car and go to Orlando and we think nothing of it, but that's not the case for everyone. And so I thought that it was good to revive it, bring it back so that they could experience what I experienced, and then make that decision as to whether or not they want to attend an HBCU.
I like that.
Here we are.
And so, did you ever attend the original Orange Blossom Classic? You look very young, but black don't crack, so I don't know.
Right.
Or did anyone in your family ever attend? Like, was that also a connection as well?
Oh, yes. My dad, when the Orange Blossom Classic went away, I was 2 years old. So I did not have the opportunity to attend. But, I heard him talk about the Marching 100 and the parade, and how, the parade was just as big as the game itself, So and I have a lot of individuals, I call them my OBC legends. So they are people who were a part of the original Orange Blossom Classic. Wow. And so they've told me stories, and it was a significant event, to that generation in that time. So no, I personally did not attend, but I've been surrounded by people who remember the original classic, and they were glad to see it come back.
Wow. Did your dad attend FAMU, or did he have a Miami or Florida connection, or was it just at the time something that was so big that people from all over came to this event?
So he had a Miami, South Florida connection. He didn't attend FAMU, but he just loved the Marching 100 was a big, big, big thing for him. So that's what I would hear about. And so I joke with him now because when I was in middle school and high school, I was in the band, right? So in his mind, I was going to go to FAMU and I was going to be in the band. And I said, well, okay, I don't really want to do that. I'm not really into the band thing anymore, but I'm just going to bring the Marching 100 to you. How's that? So that's our running joke. But yeah, he just loved it and often talked about it. And that's where we are.
I love that. That's an amazing story. And what does he think about everything that you've done so far with the Orange Blossom Classic? I know he must be really proud. Like, what has he said to you about you bringing back one of his cherished memories and events that he attended?
He's excited. They love it. They look forward to it. It's it's a lot of planning, and it's a year, of course, of planning, but it seems like it comes so quickly. So I'm like, wow, we were just here like yesterday, so um, during this time, they know that I'm constantly busy. I'm constantly working. So I'm just popping in and out saying hi. But, he smiles. I know that he's happy. He said he's happy. Every time he has a friend that brings it up, it's like, oh, that's my daughter. So I think I finally redeemed myself for not being a member of the March of 100.
Oh, I love that. Does he attend the Orange Blossom Classics?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Since you brought it back.
Yes, absolutely. He is right there. And the beautiful thing is my son is actually at FAMU, and he's playing, he plays football at FAM. So he gets a 2-for-1. He gets to see his grandson, run out of the tunnel, and he gets to see me running around working.
Running the show, being the boss that you are.
Yeah. Oh, look, some days that's good. Some days it's not so good. I'm like, no, she's not available right now. Like, I don't know who she is. Let me see if I can find out who that is for you.
Look, Black women, we get things done. And so I think I want to also, include into this story, because I think it's important, like a little bit about like who you are and your background in this industry. Can you tell me like what you did before you became the executive director of the Orange Blossom Classic, and what in your career trained you for this moment now?
So I've been in business for myself since 2003. I currently own a property and casualty insurance agency, and then I have another nonprofit agency that works with youth, like for after school programs and summer programs. And so that was kind of how, I transitioned into this, just because, in talking to students in our program, that's when I realized that they really didn't know what, this was all about. And so I had a kid tell me in our program one time, he said, well, I want to go to the University of Miami and I want to play football. But if I don't make it, then I'm just going to go and I'm going to work with my uncle on the docks. Well, it's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's like everybody can't go to the University of Miami. So do you just forego the possibility of an education simply because, you didn't get to the University of Miami? So the other side of the business for me, this was kind of a transition or a spinoff from that. So still, with that background of working with youth and just, finding a way to give back to youth in the community. But I still do both of those. And I guess you would just kind of say I've been a serial entrepreneur. So didn't really have a huge sports background when I started this, but definitely had a business background. So didn't realize when I was getting into this that I would end up being one of only 2 women that actually own a sports property.
Wow.
I was, just moving along with, we're going to do this, we're going to plan it, we're going to make it happen. So the first year, I would say we were kind of like building the plane as we were going up, and then it was like, okay, wow, it worked, and oh wow, I just stepped into being this woman in sports. So that's kind of how that went. But my background is it's mostly business development and entrepreneurship.
Love it. That definitely prepares you for what you're doing, because there's so many hats that you wear as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I love celebrating women. So, what we were able to do also was add another component to this with our Elevation Experience, which is our women's conference that brings in, women in the sports and entertainment industry. So it's really good because it's helping me to network and connect with other women that are in the industry. So it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, I saw that, and we covered it actually on my media outlet, Hello News. We reposted that experience. I saw Yandy and Wendy Wickell Robinson, and I think Latoya Luckett was there this year. Right. Yeah, it looked like an amazing time. So kudos to you for that. And just for clarity, your businesses, they're based in South Florida, so that also is too like why you're here in the market as well.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. And so, can you speak to what the Orange Blossom Classic adds to Miami culture, because ironically and actually sadly, I had never heard of this classic before. Born and raised in Miami, I'm from Miami Gardens, Carroll City. My mom knew about it, she remembered it, but it just disappeared from just the ethos and the culture of Miami, which is really, really sad because it ran for a very long time. So for me, can you speak to that culture that this event brings to our area and why that's important?
Well, anytime we get together, we just do it differently, right?
Mhm.
So it brings out a lot. So what I've said to people is that this is one event where you can bring together people who are into sports, people who love entertainment, even people that are in politics. Like, we bring so many people together with this one event, and we celebrate our culture. So you can go from, in 4 days, you can go from, networking on like playing golf, or you can go to our denim party, and just turn up and have a great time. You can
Yeah.
put on, your nice dress or your nice suit and attend our scholarship luncheon. And then on Sunday, you can hang out at Fan Fest and the game with some shorts, a t-shirt, and a hat. So we bring together a weekend for everyone, and it just shows the diversity of what who we are as a people, and it shows how we celebrate. And I think we were really missing that. One of our, of course, as our big events, signature events within the city, is Jazz in the Gardens. And
Yeah.
Jazz in the Gardens, does the same thing from a music standpoint. And then, of course, they have the women's luncheon. But outside of that, we really did not have anything else. So
Yeah.
now there are opportunities to enjoy, jazz in the spring, and then come back to Miami and enjoy, the Orange Blossom Classic in the fall. And it's a family reunion. That's why this year our theme is the HBCU reunion experience.
Yeah.
So we can have the parade and then pull up our tents, tables, and chairs and have a great time, just hanging out in the park, with doing our Greek strolls and all kind of stuff. So it just speaks to the diversity of who we are as a people, why that culture is so important. And we have an opportunity to celebrate us. And for me, that's what the original Orange Blossom Classic was about. We were able to celebrate, people like my dad, your mom. They were able to celebrate themselves and showcase their talent, when mainstream wasn't doing that. So
Mhm.
now here we are doing the same thing. It's great for me because, like I said, you can bring together sports, entertainment. You have the who's who of not just, the city of Miami Gardens, or not just South Florida, but the who's who of people all over the country. The same weekend that we do this event, the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, they come in and they host their retreat. So
Wow.
we have every state legislator, almost every Black state legislator that comes into this community the weekend of the Orange Blossom Classic. So they host different forums and things like that. So, like I said, it's one event that brings together sports, entertainment, politics, you name it, is here.
Yes. And honestly, what you guys have done with the Orange Blossom Classic and what you've added to the event space, especially for the Black community, deserves so much recognition, and your story deserves to be told, because before you, like you said, it was only Jazz in the Gardens that was on this scale of event. And so now we have multiple things to do in our backyard. And your team has been amazing on what you guys been able to pull off.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I tell people all the time, you know, having the vision is one thing. So I have the vision, but it takes other people to make it work. So, even with Commissioner Gilbert, I couldn't have done this without the support of him and, other elected officials, but primarily, he helped to make this happen. And I tease them all the time, because I'm like, well, is it only because you attended FAMU? But I'm like, hey, whatever works, you did it. So, so definitely grateful to him, and then grateful to the team that I have, because somebody has to execute the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And when you work on a project of this size and you're literally, like I said, we were kind of building the plane as we were going up, you got to sell people on, trust me, this is going to work, just believe in the vision, because they're looking like, is she crazy? But I've been fortunate to have a really good team working. Sometimes they work, more hours than me. Most of the time they work more hours than me, so that's a blessing. That's a blessing when you have people that believe in the vision and will work just as hard. So I've been fortunate to have that. So I often say I'm just the one that speaks out about it and I have the microphone, but the people that are really doing it are the people that are working while I'm sitting here in front of this interview.
No, and that's really what something like this takes. And speaking of your team, can you tell us how many people does it take to pull off an event like this? You can speak to your core team and just also to like the volunteers, team members at the stadium, the parade. Like, how many people does it take to pull this off and be successful?
So we have in the office, it is actually, we're a small core. My core team, there's 6 of us.
Wow.
And it's all women and 1 male. So pray for him. But just to have, all women working this size, event is it's fun. It's fun. Then we have, like our external partners, of course, that come in to do like our marketing, our graphic design, things like that. And we have our sales team that sells sponsorships. And then we have, as you mentioned, our volunteers. So the volunteers are great. We use, I think, during the week and even prior to, because for events like the lead up to the game, like with the elevation experience, we probably have about 100 volunteers.
Wow.
That work with us, and they love it. Our volunteers are great. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
But
it takes a lot to pull that
yeah.
off. But you guys are doing it. And also, speaking of numbers, like, how many people are you expecting to attend this year?
So this year, last year we had a total of 41,000. So I am anticipating this year about 45,000. Fingers crossed. Tickets are on sale now, so I'm putting my plug in for go get your tickets if you have not done so. But yeah, I'm expecting about 45,000. Again, the game is broadcast on ESPN. So last year our viewership was just under 1 million. I think we were at like 960,000,
Wow.
which was really big because we were the second highest rated game that week. And that wasn't just HBCU football. That was the second highest rated game out of all of their games. So I think we were second behind Florida State. And so that speaks a lot to the interest. And of course, people were saying, okay, well, Jackson State doesn't have Dion anymore. So, what do you think is going to happen? But ESPN came back to us right after the 2022 game and said, we were on ESPN2. So now they've said, okay, well, we want you guys on ESPN, the main network this year. And they've extended our contract. So that says a lot too, as far as the brand that we're building, so to have our broadcast partners. So we have about, to answer your question a little, we're expecting about 45,000 in the stadium and then another 1 million that'll watch it from home.
Love it. Congratulations. I didn't even know that tidbit, even though I'm working with ESPN on this piece. Like, it speaks to, the success of what you're doing. And just to backtrack just for a little bit of clarity, if you had to guesstimate the amount of people, I guess like team members who are paid to work on the event, like what would you guesstimate is that number? Because I could put like in the story, like an average or around a number, like it doesn't have to be exact.
So it would be about 15 of us from a paid. Yeah, about 15.
Okay, so I can say something like 15 paid members with a team of 100 volunteers, and I'd be correct in saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure, just so people get the brevity of like what it takes and what you guys are doing with kind of a relatively small team to handle 45,000 people and
yeah.
events. I always thought you was gonna say it's 30 of us. Like,
No, and it's so like that's why I think it's just so amazing because we are a small team. And that's why I said it's so important to get people who believe in the vision because I tell people, I joke with my team and I say, okay, like everybody is cross trained. So you may come in here saying, my area of expertise is this. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Now, because we're a small team, I need you to go over here and handle this too, but it works out because when you look up and you realize, okay, I thought I was coming in just to handle operations, but now I'm having conversations about marketing. Now I'm having conversations about, sponsorship sales. Now I'm having conversations, about anything because a lot of moving parts, but from the event planning side to, again, game day operations and sales. So we're a small team, but the beauty of it is I tell them, you're not going to get this kind of training anywhere else. Because if you go to a bigger game, a bigger property, they're going to have you in that one lane. Mm-hmm. and that's what you'll do all day. But we get to put our hands into a little bit of everything.
That's what's
and any myth that says that women cannot work together, we have definitely dispelled that.
Oh, I already knew that was true. It's always women uplifting me. So
yes.
I am not surprised. Y'all are getting it done, and it's mainly women over there just like making things happen.
Yes. Yeah. So like I said, just pray for my one guy over here.
We'll send him some prayers. Look, Kendra, this has been amazing. Before I let you go, just in your own words, for someone who's never attended a HBCU or the Orange Blossom Classic or any classic, like, and they're interested in attending this, whether they be someone of Black descent or any culture, like, what would you say in your own words why they should attend?
Because again, you have the opportunity to experience the culture of what it means to attend an HBCU. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't attend an HBCU or if you don't want to attend an HBCU, it is still an opportunity for the community to just come together. That's why I said our tagline is one big community. When we started this, we were number one in the middle of COVID. We were also dealing with the fact that we were at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. And we were trying to figure out how do we have what was supposed to be this Black event at a time where we have corporate sponsors that have to get the message out that, yes, we support this, but we support you too. And that's where we came up with our tagline of one big community. So if you're going to attend this event, it's an event where you can experience the beauty and the culture of what it means to be a part of an HBCU, but you can experience the beauty and the culture also of what it means to just be a diverse community. Mm-hmm. And that's what South Florida is. So, and I keep saying it over and over again, this is a family reunion. If you want to put on a suit, if you want to put on some shorts and a t-shirt and whatever, we have that event for you within a span of 4 days, whatever fits.
I love it. Love it. And before you go, did you attend an HBCU? And if so, which one?
So I did not. I actually attended Florida International University. So I'm the baby in the family. And so I saw what my older sister had to do when she went away. And I was like, I don't know if I really want that struggle. So I stayed at home.
So you grew up in the Miami area.
Right. So we moved from North Carolina when I was 15. 14,
okay.
15. Yeah. So I stayed at home, and that's why I said, okay, well, let me bring FAMU and the Marching 100 to the family.
I love that. I think that makes the story even more amazing that you had this connection to the HBCU culture and FAMU and these schools, and you didn't attend, but like you're going just as hard as if, you went to the school. I think that's even more remarkable within itself. Because sometimes there's a disconnect when you go to a PWI.
No, not at all. Because again, I was brought up with that culture. And then when I had, my son, I have 2 boys, and my oldest one, that's what he grew up around too. So he would always say, when he was, he would say, I'm gonna like forego, any like big, schools that I could go to for football or whatever. And I'm going to say, no, I'm going to this HBCU. And that's what he did. So he, that's what we grew up with.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, is there anything else that you want me to know about the Orange Blossom Classic? Anything that we didn't touch on that you want to share?
No, I think we covered everything. Just, again, it's a great experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely make sure you gave me a lot of information. I truly appreciate you taking time. Like I said, we have some mutual friends. They've wanted us to connect over the years. I've definitely been watching you as an entrepreneur myself. So kudos to you and what you built. And just thank you for your time and sharing your story with me.
No, thank you for having me. And let's stay in touch. You have my contact information. So make sure, and then whatever, of course, you need for OBC, we can from a media standpoint, make sure that, you have all of that. But definitely let's keep in touch. I love it. Like I said, anytime women are doing something good, doing something positive, whatever we can do to support each other, I'm all in.